Let's talk about classifying quadrilaterals. First of all, if you look at all of these shapes, what do they have in common? If you said that they are all quadrilaterals because they have 4 sides, 4 angles, and are closed shapes, you are correct. So today we're going to talk about quadrilaterals. Before we begin, let's talk about the characteristics of what makes it a quadrilateral. Please write these into your notes. First of all, a quadrilateral is a closed shape. It is 4-sided, has 4 angles, and the sum of all angles equals 360 degrees. That means when I add up all 4 of the angles, it has to equal 360 degrees. We need to understand and remember a word called congruent. Congruent means same size, same shape. If you look at the triangles, those are congruent. They're the same size, same shape. So are the pine trees. But if you look at the hearts, they're the same shape, but they're different sizes. Those are not congruent. And the same with the pentagons on the right-hand side. They are the same shape, but they're different size. So congruent means to be exactly the same. We're going to use that in our definition of some quadrilaterals. So let's start with a parallelogram. For each one of these quadrilaterals, I would like you to write them into your notes with the definition and try to draw a picture the best you can. Please use a straight edge, whether it be a ruler or the side of a book, something that draws straight lines. So a parallelogram is a quadrilateral with opposite sides congruent. Now you'll notice on this picture we have some extra lines. Here we have one line and one line, because that tells me that those 2 lines are opposite of each other, the 2 sides, and they are congruent. Here we have 2 lines and 2 lines, and that means these 2 sides are opposite and the opposite of each other, and they are also congruent. Now these 2 lines don't match these 1 lines, so we know that these 2 sides are not the same in length. Next we have a rectangle. A rectangle has 4 right angles and opposite sides are congruent. Our next one is a rhombus, a parallelogram with all sides congruent. Notice it says nothing about the angles. So sometimes people call a rhombus a diamond, like in a deck of cards. But the correct term in geometry is called a rhombus. And then we have a square. This is a rectangle with all the sides the same length and has 4 right angles. Remember that the symbol is to draw that box in the corner to tell that it is a right angle. Now a square is a special rectangle because it fits that definition, and it's also a special rhombus. And we'll discuss more of that in class. Here is a trapezoid. It is a quadrilateral with only 1 pair of parallel sides. You can tell they're parallel by this arrow and this arrow. Means those 2 sides are parallel. So here we have a little diagram to help us look at the relationships. First of all of our shapes here are parallelograms. And a parallelogram is a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides parallel and congruent. So a parallelogram, if we look at the rectangle, a rectangle is a parallelogram, but it has specifically 4 right angles. That's what makes it the difference. Now a rhombus is also a parallelogram, but it doesn't matter about the angle measurements. This has 4 equal sides. Now if we put the angle measurements and the length of the sides together, that becomes a square because it has 4 right angles and all sides are congruent. So let's look at this trapezoid. Does this trapezoid fit the classifications of this quadrilateral? A quadrilateral with only 1 pair of parallel sides. So this is actually a rhombus. Does it fit the trapezoid definition? No, because what's different? A rhombus has 2 equal sides and 2 sets of parallel lines, and a trapezoid has only 1 pair of parallel sides. How about this? Would the rectangle also be called a trapezoid? Nope. It's different because it has 2 sets of equal sides, 2 sets of parallel lines, and 4 right angles, where a trapezoid, remember, only has 1 pair of parallel sides. How about a square? You're right, it's not going to be a trapezoid because this one has 4 equal sides, 2 sets of parallel lines, and 4 right angles. How about this shape? A parallelogram. Nope, it can't be called a parallelogram either because it has 2 equal sides and 2 sets of parallel lines. So we're going to do your independent practice, and what I'd like you to do is you're going to classify some quadrilaterals. On the following page, you're going to draw the quadrilaterals in all the correct boxes. Let me give you an example. Okay, here we have 6 boxes, so please draw 6 boxes on your paper into your notes, and you're going to draw all the quadrilaterals from these 5 shapes below. I'll give you a hint. Quadrilateral means that they have 4 sides. So draw them the best you can with a straight edge, and then move to the parallelogram box. Which one of these down here, the 5, are parallelograms, and draw them in that box. And then do the same for the trapezoid, the rectangle, the square, and the rhombus. You are going to have more than 1 in each box, except for maybe 1 or 2. So that's your hint. Bring this chart back and we will finish it up and look at it in class. Good luck.